If you want to publish a book, but you feel stuck, out of time, and you don't know what to do next, then it's time to finish the damn book. Here's your host, Susie Schaefer.
Welcome to this episode of Finish the Damn Book. I'm your host, Susie Schaefer. My guest today is Eleanor Haspel-Portner, bestselling author of 10 books. Dr. Eleanor has devoted over 5 decades to exploring the multidimensional nature of human consciousness through her work as a clinical psychologist, researcher, and spiritual guide. Trained at the University of Chicago in the world's first interdisciplinary social science program, she brings together perspectives from psychology, biology, sociology, and anthropology, reflecting the four worlds framework she teaches. Her research, with over 45,000 cases, has created the only scientifically documented spiritual system, bridging the gap between empirical research and transformational practice. The Four Worlds framework and the Noble Energy maps represent decades of careful observation, documentation, refinement of understanding about human consciousness, and authentic living. Dr. Eleanor continues to guide individuals and groups in discovering their authentic paths while contributing to the collective evolution of consciousness. Her work stands as a testament to what becomes possible when spiritual wisdom meets scientific rigor and when profound personal transformation serves the healing of our world. Welcome, Dr. Eleanor.
Thank you.
That's a lot of work. It's a great introduction, but it's a lot of words.
Yes.
So let's talk about, because you've got so many books now, let's talk about what the process was like for you when you first started writing and publishing your first book. Because now you're an expert, but let's go back to the time when you were first embarking on this journey.
Well, my whole life, I considered myself a writer. And I started a diary when I was 7, which I still have. So my process has always been to write as a way to anchor what I know. And often it would be from my soul. So my first book, well, if you consider my dissertation a book, that was work. That was research. I interviewed 83 families, mother, father, and child. So it was a massive, massive study. And I wouldn't consider that a book. Exactly. It was learning how to be precise, learning how to be scientific, learning my craft. My first book was a download. And it was shortly after I started meditating, and I was feeling anxious one night, and I was badgering myself, saying, of what am I afraid? Of what am I afraid? Of what am I afraid? And a light appeared, and it came at me, and I was in awe, and it was a direct experience of God. And the answer was that I was afraid of death. And I was afraid of death because in the moment of death, we have all knowledge. And when we are reborn, we forget. So our lifetime is about remembering who we really are. And so I had that awareness, but I was also shown relationships. And I was shown that when you love someone and you make a commitment to share your life with that person, it's because you're on the same path. And if one of you veers off, it's the other person's job to pull them back. So you stay on the same path. But if you veer on different paths, it's no longer a viable relationship. So I was shown that. And when the energy dissipated, I began remembering all of what I had been taught, like a flash of all the knowledge I had learned and where it fit. And I sat down and I wrote an outline to a book. that I titled Marriage in Trouble, A Time of Decision, because that experience was January of 1974. And in June of 1973, I divorced my first husband.
Wow.
And I was a single mom of 2 young children and had just finished my PhD and was in a postdoc internship. So asking the question of what am I afraid was a sensible question. The answer I got floored me. So I wrote this outline to a book, not knowing what I was doing, and I sent it off to a publisher. And I went in the next day and I said to my dissertation chairman, the book you want me to write, I can't write. And he said, but you're the expert on Jewish life in America. You need to do this. And I said, no, I have another book I have to write. And I left. And I got a contract back in the mail from the publisher, one publisher. And at that time, my book was handwritten over a summer. And I had to type it. And I had to make a carbon, and I couldn't have any errors. And then I got these big galley sheets to prove, number of times. And then the book was published in 1976. So that was my first book, my first experience. The publishers didn't do much. And I ended up with like 3,000 books sitting on my shelf. So when it came time for me to do the work I'm doing now, which is my true work on the 4 worlds as a personality theory, documented on 30,000 statistical cases on the human design system and 15,000 clinical cases on the expanded noble energy system. So, and the factor analysis that I got from the statistics showed and validated the tree of life as 4-world system because I factored 4 factors. So we have 4 worlds, and the maps that I have document those worlds. And so all of my writing since 2016 has been about the 4 worlds and noble energy maps and my process getting there. And in 2016, my first book, I decided I would self-publish on Amazon and Apple. And I had, when I was publishing books, self-publishing books, but not through Amazon, just with Ra Uru Hu, I wrote 13 books with him. I always forget about them because I put them into Quark, which was a publishing program, and I took the transcripts and I put them into Quark and I did the illustrations, and I actually printed the books myself on my printer.
Wow.
Because Xerox was offering a free color printer, and all you had to do was pay for ink. And it was a really good laser printer. So we had that, and I got a laminator machine, and we'd laminate the covers. So it was really self-publishing in-house. And I published 13 of those books. And nobody read them. Nobody got them off the web. So when I decided to publish Cosmic Secrets and Astrology Essentials, I hired an editor to help me make sure that they were organized. And then I did the graphics in Illustrator, and I wrote the books.
Wow, you are certainly a powerhouse of publishing. And I love that you you're taking our listeners through the whole process of what it was like from the 70s and then the early 2000s, because publishing has changed so much and it's become so much easier now, that it allows you to spend the time writing your books and working with clients and doing the research versus all the ins and outs of design and formatting and that type of thing.
Well, I still design my books. I at least lay out a page, and when I did my books in 2016 and 17, I used Uplink or Fiverr, and I found Michelle White,
Yes.
who um, helped me with those two books. And then when I decided, well, I had another experience. In October of 2022, my husband had open heart surgery. And one night he said to me, I really feel like there's a negative force taking me over. So I said, okay, uh, go into bed and I will do a Jim Gore prayer of releasing, and I'll do Tai Chi Gong figure eights. The Tai Chi Gong figure eights are the infinity sign,
Yes.
and they're the four worlds. And in Tai Chi Gong, you go in a figure eight and with the feet, and your body moves. So I was standing there doing figure eights at his bedside, saying this prayer, and the voice came in. And it said to me, the figure eights are your layout of noble energy maps. You know how to read them. You know what they are. It's time to go public.
Wow.
So, and I had been public, but nobody could see me.
Right.
And so I said something at my Tai Chi Gong group gathering, my community, and 15 people signed up for readings.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And it was time to go public. So then I registered my trademarks. I branded my websites. I started doing a weekly webinar. And then the publishing took off, because when I was ready to do cosmic guidance, which is a four-world guidance for every single day of the year, and it's evergreen. I did it so it's evergreen. And then at the bottom of each page is room for journaling.
And I love that layout.
So I called up Michelle, and at that point, she had a publishing company. So since then, I've worked with Michelle on all my books except for one. And the one that I didn't work with her on is called Living from Soul. And I worked with the She Rises studio people because they had a publishing special for $500. You could get your book published.
Yeah. That's
And I thought, okay, let's see what they do. And I thought I would give them sort of a throwaway book, more personal and experiences from my life, which it does have. They did a beautiful job with it. And takes people through the four worlds and gives exercises for how they can master them. So that's coming out September 16th. And then Michelle is publishing The Science of Human Design, based on 45,000 cases. And it's a map of your soul, a proven map of your soul. So I love working with Michelle.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And with you, Susie, because I met you through Michelle.
Yeah, that's true. So a big shout out to Michelle White. MMW Books is her website. She is an amazing designer, does covers and interior design. And she's just really phenomenal to work with. She and I have been friends and colleagues for years and years. So yeah, I love the fact that she's working on your books. And I love the idea that you're exploring other opportunities as well, especially with the She Writes group. And one thing, just as a reminder for myself, but also for our listeners, is that when you do publish from different sources, be sure that you connect those books to your author profile on Amazon so people can find all of them, and you don't have that one that's out there dangling and hanging in the wind. You want to be able to put them all together. So I that's very exciting. Congratulations. You got 2 more books coming out. So
More books coming out.
and then out of all the books you've published thus far, do you have one that has been a clear favorite, a front runner of your books?
In terms of me or in terms of my audience?
Your audience. Yeah. Who does which book really resonates with your audience?
Well, Beyond Human Design was resonating significantly because in it, I laid out all the different worlds and all the different gates and channels of all the worlds and all of the readings that you would do depending on which world it was in.
Mm.
So it's a massive book. The one that currently is the favorite among that I'm getting royalties on is Human Design and Health. And I believe that's the case because Ra was one of the authors. I opted on the science book to not put him on as an author, even though putting him on as an author would sell more copies, because it's not the truth. And the truth is that I was authorized to do the science with him, and he saw the results, but he didn't write them up or do anything with the running of the statistics. So I wrote all of the papers and the articles, and the newest one, which I only published this year, but the data was collected in 2000 on the factor analysis.
And so you have the entire set of books that really work on that talk about specifically human design. You've got the triple design matrix, but then you also have Reiki manuals.
Yes, 2 Reiki books.
Yeah, which is phenomenal. So, for those listeners out there that are practicing Reiki, I'm actually getting my Reiki 2 certification in the very near future. Be sure to check out Eleanor's Reiki books too, because those are super helpful for those that are practicing Reiki. So yeah, I just think you're such an amazing wealth of knowledge, and I love that you're sharing it with people.
Uh, there's no other way for me to do it.
Hmm.
Sometimes I want to stop and then I get a download. And I know that the people who have been working with me over the last couple of years, when Marvin and I have been doing our webinar every week, which is now a membership for $7 a month. But they get all the archives that date back 2 years. So in those webinars, the transformations in the people who are attending are visible. And it's because we've been brought up in this culture to live in the mental waking world. And we're not mental waking beings, we're divine. So it's really a question of tuning into the spirit.
Yeah. You've talked a lot about some of the spiritual experiences that you've had as you've been writing, getting downloads, working with the figure 8 with Marvin and when he was healing. What about your intuition? Do you obviously you do listen to your intuition, but how do you incorporate using your intuition into the work that you do?
Well, I've always said I can't think to save my life. And when, I've never seen a system that explains it, but Noble Energy Maps explains it. And I've always, from my first memory is of seeing auras. And I was maybe 2 months old. And when I was in a training analysis with a Freudian, he didn't know what to make of that memory. When I was in my Jungian training, they didn't know what to do with the memory. But I finally realized, oh, I was seeing auras. And I always could tell if somebody was aligned spiritually with what they were saying in the real world.
Mm.
And one of the things I've been talking about recently is the August 28th cosmic event. And that is a event that has not happened since 306 BC.
And what is that
So
event?
the event is August 28th this year, and it is a trine between Uranus and Neptune and Pluto.
Mm.
And because those are the three slowest moving planets, it hasn't happened since 306 BC. So it is the ushering in of the Aquarian age, for real.
Yeah, I love that. It's funny too, back in the 70s, they were singing about the age of Aquarius, and yet it's finally here.
It's finally here. And based on the work I've done with the Tree of Life, the key is balancing the solar plexus or the emotional world,
Mm-hmm.
not the emotional world, the mental, physical world,
Okay.
because emotional reactivity is only of the mental world.
Interesting.
And we pick it up via the galvanic skin response unconsciously in the body. And then we experience feeling. So in my system, it shows that the solar plexus has to balance with the splenic center, which is intuition and inner knowing. And the line I use with all my clients is, when you know what you know, and no one can tell you you don't know, you're not stubborn, you're not selfish, you're aligned.
Oh,
Do not compromise.
do not.
And so
Hmm.
that's really where we are now, except that in noble energy maps and even in the human design, I can see that what is being activated on the 28th of August is the emotional reactivity. So my hypothesis is that we're dealing with the 27th path of intelligence on the Tree of Life, which is the Tower card.
Interesting.
And that means breaking down false beliefs and waking up to who we really are.
It's interesting too, because we're seeing the crumbling of systems and structures, which has been going on for the last few years. And really, it feels like things are kind of coming to a head. And so I feel like, based on what you're saying, is really, we could see some real things fall apart in our 3D physical world. But honestly, it has to happen, because
And
we
yeah,
are on a trajectory to where, if we continue on this path, we eventually will end ourselves, because it just is not sustainable.
6 BC was the rise of the Roman Empire.
That's interesting. Okay, so
And let me say one more thing. The in my system, the manifestation process takes 3 months. So the 3 month after August 28th is October 25th. The um the craft coming toward Earth, we don't know whether it's a comet or a craft, an alien craft, is due to pass by Earth October 22nd.
yes, and I believe December 19th is the 3-eye atlas, is when you're going to be able to see that the closest. The trajectory starts in October, but it actually goes through, and December 19th should be where it is most visible to planet Earth.
There's an eclipse in September
Yes.
that finishes the eclipse from March. So if we look at this trajectory that you're talking about, it's going to be after September.
Yes. And
So things are stacking up.
exactly. We also have, as we're recording this, we're on the 21st of August that we're recording this. So this might not be current for you when we actually post this podcast interview. However, the 22nd into the 23rd is the new moon in Virgo. And yet there is another new moon in Virgo in September. So we have like bookends, no pun intended, of having two new moons in Virgo, and the second one in September is an eclipse. So this is a very powerful time that we are reaping the rewards of our manifesting and our spirituality and our doing the work over the last 3 to 6 months. It's fascinating. So what do you think? Should we pull 3 cards for our listeners and see what comes?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. Do you have a specific topic, or should we just give it up to universe?
Let's say spiritual direction.
Spiritual direction for our listeners. Okay. Well, this is interesting. I actually pulled the same card in my reading this morning, my personal reading this morning. So it's a 26, which reduces to an 8, which when you flip it on its side, it is the lemon skate, the infinity symbol. We just talked about that. This card is happy, happy. Okay, so what I love about this card is, first of all, the image is a woman. She's wearing a blue dress and she's dancing, and she's holding balloons. So balloons represent birthdays. So this is actually a really great, you can look at this and have some personal reflection on what did you work on your last birthday that you can manifest by your next birthday? Because there's going to be some things that are going to be gifts for us that are going to create happiness and joy. And it's part of our own personal path. So look at your birthdays, because that's going to be really important for you individually, specifically. But the blue dress that she's wearing is also blue as throat chakra. So it's asking, when you want to manifest things and create happiness in your life, then it's really important that you use your throat chakra. This is also why, if you'll notice, my logo for Finish the Damn Book is also blue. It's about us using our voice and creating energetic connections through the throat chakra. She's also balancing on this egg. So the egg represents fertility, creation, the birth of new ideas, those kinds of things. So really get creative. And when you are manifesting and setting your intentions with what you want to bring into your life to bring happiness, be sure to speak them out loud, because our voice gives it that extra energy. And it's like tenfold the power than just writing it in your journal. Fascinating. So the next card is a 3. 3 is the number of teaching. And this card is between two worlds. So on the card, there is a flamingo that's going from a black and white scenario into a color scenario. It's like Technicolor. And the flamingo is wearing a crown. So really tap into your crown chakra. Really ask for guidance and for information downloads to come to you. There's also a little bird. There's also a little bird in the happy, happy card too. So that to me is your intuition. Listen to your intuition. Listen to the little voices in your head and the little voices in your heart. And then the last card is a 37. So that reduces to a 10, which further reduces to a 1, saying, okay, you've already ended this cycle. You just energetically need to play it out now in the 3D world. So then it's never ending story. So it's saying all the things that used to keep you downtrodden. There's a little fairy sitting on top of an hourglass with a heart inside. All the things that have kept you stuck, that have kept you downtrodden, that you thought love wasn't coming your way, those things are already ended. That cycle has already ended for you. So step into this new world, the Technicolor world, like the flamingo, and just allow yourself to become happy and joyous and manifest what you want by your next birthday. That's our card.
Thank you.
Yes. How fun is that?
May I add one thing?
Please do.
When any of you work on yourself, please break it down to the 4 worlds.
I love that.
Break it down into the categories of what do you want in the mental world? What makes you happy in the mental world? What makes you happy spiritually? And are they congruent and aligned? Now, the emotional angelic world is, you must differentiate there between the emotions that bring love and compassion versus the emotions that bring emotional reactivity and distress. And before you manifest, translate them into compassion and love. And remember that the manifestation process takes 3 months. So we get 3 months to self-correct.
I just love those words of wisdom because you know what? The thing that just really kind of came to me when you were saying that is that it gives you that grace period. So don't be so hard on yourself, right? Yeah.
Well, when you visualize initially, it's like a rough draft.
Yeah.
But then if you can navigate with the curves that the mental world throws you, staying aligned to your inner self, then you're going to feel at ease physically. And so the physical body and self-care of the physical body, that's your vehicle.
Yes.
And that's what gives you the information. So you need to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. Drink clean water, good water, eat healthy organic foods, take care of yourself, get exercise every day, get lots of sleep. When you listen to your intuition, when you're feeling tired, take a break. When you're feeling energized, hit it hard, right? This is part of how we take care of this physical vehicle that we're in and keep ourselves in that alignment. Yeah. Wonderful. Eleanor, how can people find you and reach out to you? You have such a wealth of knowledge and wisdom that I want to share you with the world.
My website is www.nobleenergywellness.com. And I do have a 4-world assessment that people can take. If anybody wants that, just email me because I'll send you a link. I don't know it offhand. But there should be a link to it on Noble Energy Wellness. And anybody can email me at ehp@noblesciences.com.
Oh, I love that. That's so perfect. Eleanor, thank you so much for being here today. It has just been an amazing session with you, and thank you for all your wisdom.
Thank you. And thank you for all your help with my publishing.
My pleasure. And if you found this interesting, I encourage you to join me for the next episode and be sure to subscribe. Until then, keep on writing so you can finish the damn book. We'll see you next time.
So that's it for today's episode of Finish the Damn Book. Head on over to wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe to the show. And join us on the next episode.